Welcome to the Susan LoPresti Wellness Mind, Body, and Soul podcast, the go-to space for midlife and mature women who are ready to reclaim their health, boost their energy, and live long, vibrant, and purposeful lives. Each week, we dive deep into natural wellness, holistic healing, anti-aging strategies, and healthy lifestyle habits to help you feel your best physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Whether you're navigating menopause, working through chronic conditions, or simply wanting to age gracefully and intentionally, this show is your sanctuary for science-backed insights, powerful stories, and soul-nourishing inspiration. So if you're a woman 40, 50, and older looking to thrive in the next chapter of your life, you're in the right place. Today's guest is PJ Glassey. PJ started personal training in 1987 and grew his business successfully for 11 years, training clients out of their homes and local area gyms. With these clients helped us test subjects, PJ invented his multi-protocol concept and refined it through 1998 when he founded the X Gym. PJ still spends hours each week studying the current research to further improve the X Gym methods. He has been a guest expert on TV, hosted his own call-in talk show on KKOL and KVI radio, and has authored many works, including local and national media articles and several books on health and fitness. PJ has been selected as one of the top fitness bloggers by several different rating sites. He continues to create free content for people through his X Gym blog. His co-author's contribution to the book, 101 Great Ways to Improve Your Health, helped make it a bestseller. Another book he co-authored, What You Need to Know About Muscle Building, 10 Top Trainers Q&E Sessions, is another success. PJ's main work is his own book, Cracking Your Calorie Code, on Amazon and Kindle 2.0, is a brain dump of most of what PJ has learned over the years through his extensive research that he has done in the field of exercise, science, nutrition, and brain science. His workout DVD, X Gym Workout Protocol, #1, was also a hot seller, especially back when people had DVD players. Who remembers them, right? Designed to introduce non-X Gym clients to the unique concept he has developed. Now his X Gym app streams numerous video workout options to subscribers. He also created a brain type test for people to discover their unique brain wiring and find hacks and shortcuts to faster results and better motivation, helping them tremendously in their health and fitness journey. His latest creation is a customized AI chatbot loaded exclusively with his own content, namely his book and more than 400 blog posts and articles over the years, allowing his gym members and app subscribers to ask him anything on health, fitness, anti-aging, and brain training to get answers instantly, 24/7, 365 days. So, without further ado, PJ, welcome to my podcast. I've been so excited to meet you, and I'm super excited for our conversation today. How are you?
Doing good.
Good. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Susan.
You're very welcome. So I want to start. I have a whole bunch of questions that I wrote down, but you've been a biohacker since 1987
Mm-hmm.
and long before that term even became popular. So can you define biohacker for the audience and what originally sparked your passion for optimizing health and performance?
Yes. So, biohacking is basically science nerds who are using science and technology to improve health. So, that can be in nutrition, that can be in fitness, that can be in brain stuff, it can be whatever, but it's using, and it's a lot of, when I say science and technology, I mean scientific research.
Mm-hmm.
So, a true biohacker is a research nerd and they are very open minded. So they like trying new things and experimenting with themselves and others, if they're willing,
Yeah.
because we're fascinated by the human body. So that's the science part. And the technology part is gadgets. So
Ah,
whether that be wearables or whether it be a VO2 max machine that tests your cardio endurance, whatever, it's using technology, AI even, that's part of it
yeah.
now that we have that. And so that's what a biohacker is, somebody that uses science and technology to get healthier and fitter, whatever their definition of healthier is.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. So tell us a little bit about your personal transformation. What led you to the X Gym and your unique approach to fitness and brain training?
Yeah, well, the X Gym is a shortcut.
Uh-huh.
So I got my degree in exercise science from Seattle Pacific University in 1989. And I was a biohacker before that. But so I was really into science. I also was a psych major before I switched to exercise science. So I have a whole bunch of training classes in both of those things. And when I graduated, I became a personal trainer, helping people mentally and physically to get healthier and fitter. And so I developed an exercise methodology based on what my clients wanted. So my clients who could afford personal training, obviously they're in the higher income, and those are the busy people.
Hmm.
And so they wanted something that was efficient because they don't have much spare time and they don't have time to spend in a gym, especially with traditional training. Because what a lot of people don't realize is traditional training was invented in 1891 for the main purpose of bulking people up to get them jacked, big
Hmm.
muscles. And Eugene Sandow invented it. He was a famous European strongman that came to the US to make his fortune. And so that he did. And he was jacked. And all the other guys back in the 1800s were skinny and they wanted to be jacked like Eugene. And so they ended up talking him into selling his methodology. And that's when sets and reps were born. It's still a great method for bodybuilders that want to get jacked, and they should totally do it. But it's super time consuming because sets and reps takes a long time, especially if you want to get jacked, because that's, 2 hours if you want to get normally jacked every day. And if you want to be a pro bodybuilder, it's 10 hours a day. So it's a big time commitment. My people that I was training didn't have that kind of time and they didn't want to have that kind of time and they didn't want to spend time in the gym. So I would train them mostly out of their homes and knowing how to read research because of my exercise science degree, I just dove into that, brain science and exercise science, and developed a methodology, a fitness methodology over that 11 years that saved them time. So it kept getting shorter and shorter until finally it was 21 minutes twice a week. And that 42 minutes a week is equivalent to about 7 hours of traditional training. Huge time hack.
Hmm.
But they also didn't want to get jacked because they were past that point in their life. And, bodybuilding was cool back in the 80s, but then it was starting to, not be so cool anymore. And they just wanted to be toned and defined and have functional fitness and in an efficient way without getting hurt because they didn't want to do the CrossFit thing or the heavy weights ballistic rep stuff, which I used to do, which was great for that point in my life.
Hmm.
And so they wanted something safer that took less time, that didn't get them jacked, but still got them toned and defined and gave them a functional fitness. So 11 years of experiments with those people as my guinea pigs got me 7 methods and 30 different splinter techniques. So then I opened the X Gym in 1998, and the rest is kind of history. But along the way, as we continue to grow and expand and change, so
Hmm.
our methodology is not the same as it was in 98. It's better now because we're constantly still doing experiments and reading tons of research, but we're also helping people with their brains. And that started back in the year 1998, about when we opened the X Gym, when my sister and I were suspicious that my mom might be getting early onset dementia.
Mm.
And sure enough, in the year 2000, she was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's in her 50s.
Oh,
And
young.
yeah, and so we didn't know enough back then to help her, even though I was diving into the research. So she passed in 2005. But I never stopped studying the research because it was changing so fast and I was learning new things and new ideas were coming out. And now we know that it can not only be slowed or stopped, but even reversed.
Yes.
And so I'm helping people with that too. But that made my training even more brain intensive in helping people rewire their brains so they think differently and therefore makes health and fitness goals achievable faster and easier with less need for willpower because they're thinking differently and acting differently and they're able to get past food cravings and emotional roadblocks and better motivation and discipline and also all those sorts of things that come along with rewiring your brain and improving your brain and training your brain.
So give me some examples of that. Where do you begin with this with a client?
Yeah, that depends on the person. So it begins with lots of questions. We start their initial workout and we talk about their goals, and then we can customize their exercise program. But then I tell them, hey, you need to let me know what struggles you're having. And then I will often give them the link to the brain type test. It's a 20-question quiz that determines which of the 16 brain types they are. Then we can sit down and we can talk about it. And I mean, people don't really need my help with the results sheet that they get, but it's fun to talk with them about it and ask a whole bunch of more questions. Why are these your goals? Why are you motivated to do this? And I'm kind of like a toddler with people when they ask why. I have a 2.5-year-old grandson right now, and he is in that stage. And it's the why stage.
Why
And
for
it's a
everything?
for everything. And a lot of parents and grandparents might get irritated with that, but I love it. It's so fun because he asks me why constantly. And on his first question, I get kind of excited because I know there's going to be a lot of whys coming. And I don't know where this conversation is going to end up. It's going to be really fun to see because I don't know what knowledge I have on the extent of the knowledge I have on this subject, but 30 or 40 questions why later,
Yeah.
we're going to come to a conclusion or I will run out of knowledge. And it's going to be a really fun place that both of us, neither of us expected to be there. And that's what I do with my people. So
Mhm.
I'm the toddler and I keep asking why. And I keep getting different answers and better answers until they run out of answers. And now we know the real why of why they're here. And then we can work with that. And then with the brain training, we can give them specific motivation techniques and discipline developing techniques to break their old habits and patterns and establish new habits and patterns and make this whole process a lot easier and way more fun. And at the end of our conversation, we have landed in a place where neither of us thought we would be. And it's super fun to discover that because instead of me as the trainer coming with a bias and telling them what they should do,
Mhm.
I'm going to find out with all my questions. And we're going to end up at this place that neither of us expected to be. And it's going to be really exciting. And now we have a customized program to help that person based on their real goals and their brain wiring and personality type and motivation type and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. I just want you to touch for a moment, if you will, on Alzheimer's disease
Mm-hmm.
and some of the things that we can do
Yeah.
to either slow it down or you said reverse it.
Yeah.
Give
So
us some
for
tips.
Yes. And for people for future reference, if they go to xgym.com /dementia.
Okay.
They'll see it. And I boiled it down to my 5 top favorite things.
Okay.
Or just go to xgym.com and go to the bottom and type in the search bar dementia or Alzheimer's,
Okay.
and it'll come up. But I've talked with a lot of people about this, and I have this post up there because there's tons of things you can do, tons of things. But the top 5 is enough to actually even reverse it in some stages. The interesting thing about Alzheimer's that's different from other form of dementia is the people who have Alzheimer's are less likely to want to change. They're more resistant to change than regular age-related dementia, which can also be reversed with these steps.
Mhm.
But the people with regular run-of-the-mill age-related dementia are open to change, and they will even joke about having Alzheimer's. They don't, but they'll joke about it because they just self-deprecating humor. But an Alzheimer's person likely will not joke about it. They don't even want to hear the word, and it makes them mad. And so it's interesting to see those differences between the different forms of dementia.
Mhm.
Those are just 2 of many forms of dementia, but they can all be reversed. And the top 5 things are exercise, because you got to get oxygen to the brain.
Yeah.
And exercise also releases brain derived neurotropic factor, BDNF,
Uh-huh.
which is miracle grow for brain cells. And that's really important neurologically. So that's number 1, exercise. Number 2 is nutrition and hydration. So you're eating the right foods, you're getting enough good, clean, filtered water, you're eating real foods and getting off processed foods and those kinds of things. Number 3 is quality sleep. So you're getting good sleep. Number 4 is working your brain, exercising your brain with brain training stuff, but most importantly, learning new things outside your field of expertise. So I do a major brain training learning project every year. It's yearly, and I pick something that's really hard. So that's why I'm a general class ham radio operator. That's why I'm a private pilot. And I pick things that are really hard that have nothing to do with what I already know, what I'm really good at. And when I'm learning these things, I get to the point where it's like, oh, it's so frustrating. And I just want to give up or take a break for the day. But I know, and what other people are going to now know, is that when you get to that point where you want to quit, you want to back off, that's the point where your brain is getting the most benefit. So just remember that and know if you're doing this for a brain training exercise, now you push really hard and you just push through
Yeah.
and you expand that comfort zone and you do this hard thing, because now your brain is making new pathways and growing new nerves. And that's really exciting, especially for dementia prevention and reversal. And then the last one, number 5, is relationships.
Yes.
And so making
Connection,
sure,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
making sure that you have close relationships. So acquaintances are fine, but it's the relationships where you have to work on them that are the ones that are good for your brain.
Mhm.
And at least 2, and but as much as 5. And those are the really close ones, the intimate relationships where you can talk about anything. And this is a person that you can call up and they'll come help you move. And these really good friends that help you do stuff. And you have to work on it. So if you have 3 of these friends, one of them, at least one of them, should be a hard relationship, not a bad relationship, but one that you have to work on with them. They can't all be easy relationships that you get along and there's never any drama.
Right.
The hard one is actually really good for your brain, and that's the best for your brain. So whether that's a relative or a friend that you can't seem to cut out of your life, well, there's a reason. Or a spouse, maybe you're not getting along with somebody that you have to work on to keep this relationship. That's really good for your brain. So every time that you're frustrated with a relationship or someone that you have to work on really hard, just remember that you're getting amazing benefit for your brain, especially in reversing and preventing dementia. Because,
Wow.
yeah.
That
So
one
it's the work.
I heard about connection and
Mhm.
socialization,
Yeah.
but I never heard the fact that it should be a challenging relationship, but it makes
Yes.
sense.
Yes. Challenge is a miracle grow for your brain. Yeah, for sure.
So, what other activities? Because I hear that, doing puzzles is really
Mhm.
great, or crossword puzzles and things
Yep.
like that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So puzzles and crossword puzzles would be great for me because I don't do them. But as soon
right.
as I get good at them, I would change to something else. Now I could still do it for fun, but
Yeah,
it's not a brain training exercise anymore.
right.
I need to move on to something else that's hard. I'm learning that I don't know and that I'm not good at.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. That was great. Thank you for clarifying that whole thing. Let's
Mhm.
go on to fat loss,
Mhm.
anti-aging, and sustainable health.
Mhm.
You're known for your innovative approach to lasting fat loss and anti-aging. What
Mhm.
makes your method different than the traditional approaches?
Well, I think my method is targets visceral fat better than other methods.
Oh,
Now there's actually all exercise is great, but for instance, there are certain kinds of exercises that can make visceral fat worse or will not reduce visceral fat. One of them being long duration steady state cardio that isn't very hard. So, marathon runner, for instance, if you're doing too much of that, now you are increasing cortisol and you're increasing other hormones, other stress hormones and chemicals in your body. And so, and the visceral fat loves stress hormones. So
yes.
when you're stressed out, you're going to be easy. It's going to be easier to gain visceral fat. It's going to be harder to burn it off. And that's the most stubborn fat. And that's the fat around our organs, around our center of mass.
Hmm.
And so that is a bad type of exercise as far as too much of it is counteractive to burning fat. Because when most people say, I want to lose fat, they probably have too much visceral fat. And visceral fat is gained first when people gain weight, and it's lost last.
Yeah.
So that's unfair, but that's the way it is. And visceral fat loves stress. So it's all about stress reduction. So the other type of exercise that is, besides the over exercising and chronic, is because that's just too much stress, is too intense. So if you're exercising, say, a bodybuilder's really into it and he's working out 10 hours a day and he's doing very intense, well, that's increasing the stress hormones and stress chemicals. And so he's going to struggle more with fat loss.
Hmm.
And so as far as exercise goes, it needs to be intense, but just not too much. So the duration can't be too long. Intensity is great. And there's nothing more intense than X Gym, but it's just 21 minutes twice a week. So we're only talking about 42 minutes a week versus 10 hours a day for a pro bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And that's a huge difference. So even though it's intense, it's not enough time to cause overstress overload. And therefore, it burns visceral fat instead of increases and stores visceral fat. It's also a good stress release because it's not overdoing it and it's not too much time at it. And so you're getting all the benefits of the intense exercise stress release that comes with intense exercise without overdoing it in time. And so your body is able to release that stress and get it out, which also helps burn the visceral fat.
So would like a fast walk
Mhm.
be considered beneficial?
Yeah, that
A
would be
fast walk or
better.
bicycle riding, like outside bicycle riding?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And if someone's going to do a power walk, I would also recommend that they go to a park and do it in the forest
Oh,
or with as much plants around as possible,
yes.
because then they're getting that wonderful filtered UV and they're getting the cleaner air and the fresh new oxygen and just the whole vibe and everything that comes from nature. We call this forest bathing. We actually
Yeah.
made a term for it. where because 200 years ago that was normal, everybody just did that because we lived in the forest and in
Mm-hmm.
villages. But now we have a term for it because it's so rare. But it's great to do that. So if you're going to go for a brisk walk, anywhere is great. You know, if you have, if, even if it has to be inside on a treadmill, that's great. But the ideal scenario is to get out in nature and do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That changes my whole demeanor when I'm in nature. I absolutely love
Oh
it. Love
gosh,
it.
yes, it's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What are your top three daily habits that you believe contribute most to your youthfulness and your vitality? Because I know you're 59. I'm giving away
Hmm.
your age,
Yeah,
but you actually look like you're 39. So, what are your top
thanks.
daily habits?
Yeah, so it's about consistency and discipline.
Okay.
Now, people get started with motivation, and motivation is great for the beginning, but that wanes. You know, anybody can go to a Tony Robbins weekend and be fired up for a week, but that's about all they're going to get out of it. So discipline has to be created. And that's the most important part. And what I tell people is you can stretch out your motivation. And the longer you stretch it out, the more likely it is that you create discipline, meaning you create patterns and habits. But the way to do that is, you know, once you get back for your Tony Robbins seminar, which is great, then you write down your goals and what got you excited and you capture all those emotions and then you post it somewhere you're going to see it all the time.
Hmm.
So then in 2 weeks, you still see it and you haven't forgotten about it and it hasn't waned as much. And you try to push that motivation out as long as you can. So it gives you time to create and establish new patterns and habits. And once you've done that, now it's automatic. It's like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
And so I tell people get that done and start easy and small. And maybe it's somebody who's really out of shape. Let's say you're a computer programmer and you sit down all day at a keyboard and then you come home and you play video games. And now you're 39 years old and you're 400 pounds and you feel awful. Well, where do I start? I feel awful. Exercise sounds like a horrible idea because that would be a lot of pain. I'm used to being, you know, having this comfort zone that I never go out of. Well, so that start small and pick something so easy that it would be ridiculous not to do it every day. Maybe that's one push up, or maybe that's just standing up and walking around the inside of your house, or maybe it's going outside of your house and walking around the perimeter of your house. It's so easy, it would be stupid to not do it. It's ridiculous to not do it.
Hmm.
So then that becomes boring. And now you're walking around your neighborhood or just down the street and back and that becomes boring. And so then you can build on that. But the important part is it's something you do every day, no exceptions. But that's why it has to be initially so easy that it would be ridiculous to not do it. It would be
Right.
silly because it's so easy. And once you establish this daily thing, then you can build on it. And then now you're feeling better because you're building on it.
Yeah.
And now you're more motivated, you have more energy, and you have less pain. And now it becomes easier and it's snowballing. So I do lots of things for anti aging, but I did it slowly and I built over the years upon it. And so it doesn't have to be everything all at once. That's the biggest mistake people make, especially the New Year's resolutionaries, I
Yeah.
call them, is they go to the gym and I'm going to work out 5 hours a week and I'm going to eat perfect and all this kind of stuff. And they're done by the mid-January
Yeah.
because their expectations were way too high and it's way harder than they thought and they didn't realize they had food addictions now that they're struggling with and all this stuff gets in the way. And so then they just give up. So that's why you have the rest of your life to do this. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing is you post your goals and then you say this is for life because I want to be this person eventually, but I'm not going to be this person next month. I'm going to have realistic expectations. I'm just doing all these things for health and for life for the rest of my life. I'm going to take it at my own pace, as slow as I need, because I have the rest of my life to do this.
Yeah.
And then you're building at your own pace, at your speed, and not getting burned out. You don't have unrealistic expectations. And that's how you can get to the point where you're doing all the things that I'm doing, but they're automatic for me. It's like brushing my teeth
Mm-hmm.
because that's who I am. My identity has changed because over the years I do these things. This is what I do. This is who I am. And now it'd be ridiculous to not, because it's not me to not. I have to do these things because just like I brush my teeth. And
Exactly.
I look back on my past, on my like food cravings, for instance, and I was the guy that would, go to these parties where there's a birthday or whatever celebration it is. And if it was one of those square cakes, I was the most excited because I would strategically place myself in line or mull around close to the cake until I figured I could jump in line and get the corner piece. Or if there wasn't a line, I'd go ask for the corner piece because that had the most frosting. And if there was a flower on top in that corner, I'd see that's a big bonus. Yeah. And so that was a huge craving for me. But now that disgusts me and dry heave just even thinking about it because it's so gross. So my brain has changed. My brain has been rewired. And now my craving for broccoli is way more intense than it was for that corner piece of cake because I've changed my brain
Yeah.
with the habits that I've done over the years. It took a while,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that didn't happen overnight, but no one should expect it. They should just expect to get healthier. And their goal should be, and what they could write on their little piece of paper, along with the other goals that we talked about, is today I'm going to be a little healthier than I was yesterday. What am I going to, and then ask themselves out loud the question, okay, what can I do today to get a little healthier than yesterday? It's not perfectly healthy. It's a little healthier just to make progress.
Right.
And there's going to be bad days. There's going to be bad days where you make bad choices and you don't get healthier, you get less healthy. And that's okay too. You say, oh, wait, oh, I screwed up. Okay, I forgive myself. Now, here we go. Let's move forward. Tomorrow, I'm going to be healthier. And starting right now, even though I just made that mistake, what can I do now to get a little bit healthier and get back on track? Because it's where the people don't forgive themselves and they just give up out of
Yeah.
frustration and beat themselves up that don't get back on that train. And a lot of people say I fell off the wagon. My visualization project is to visualize being on a train because if you fall off a wagon, the wagon keeps going and now you have to run and use all this extra energy to catch back up to the wagon and get back on the wagon. But if it's a train, you fall off the train. Well, you're beside the train, you're watching the train, you're looking up at the train, it's still moving, but you don't have to run a whole bunch and catch up to it. You just hop back on.
Right.
And you're going to get to the station a little later than if you didn't fall off, but you're still going to get to the station. So with the train mentality, you stand up, you brush yourself off, you say, okay, I'm human. I screwed up. I messed up. I forgive myself, and then jump back on the train.
Yeah. That's great analogy. Great advice.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you developed some truly unique methods, exercise methods at the X Gym. Can
Mm-hmm.
you describe what makes your training style stand out?
Yes, it is the multi method concept. So with traditional training, you've got one method, sets and reps, and you've got one way of doing the rep. It's going to be fast ballistic motions. And whether it's 1 second up and down, like most people do it, or whether it's 3 or 4 seconds up and down, it's still going to have momentum involved. And that style isn't going to change. You might change your exercises from time to time, but the way you do the rep and the way you're doing exercise isn't changing. And so over time, your nervous system is going to adapt to it and your results are going to slow. But if you do different methods, meaning you're doing the rep differently and you're changing that from time to time, as well as the exercises from time to time, like we do, now your nervous system can adapt and you're going to continue to get results and progress without those pesky plateaus that happen
Mhm.
with traditional training.
Yeah.
Now, my training is endurance training and strength training and nerve training. So, because of that, people don't get bigger, they get more defined, they get more toned and more muscle density, and certainly stronger functionally. So, they look and feel fitter, and they are, but they don't get jacked, they don't get bigger.
Yeah.
because my people don't want that. And people that do want to get jacked shouldn't come to X Gym. They shouldn't come to me. They should do traditional training and bodybuilding. And that's great. Everything is great. CrossFit is great. Traditional training is great. X Gym is great. It's all different markets and different people.
Mhm.
There's not one right thing for everybody, but what is right for you is what gets you out of the house and off the couch. That's what's right for you.
Yeah.
And I've done lots of different things through my life in different phases and ages. And it was all good because it kept me off the couch and it kept me fit. But that's really the bottom line is my methodology is different for a certain type of person with certain goals. And it is all about changing the method. So if the way you're doing the rep, so some are slow motion, some are stop motion, some are direction changes, it's all time under tension and it's all to complete muscle fatigue, but it automatically adjusts to each person. It's relative to what they can do, where they are. It meets them where they are
Mhm.
and they get 100% out of it. And as they get stronger and they're able to stretch out their mental and physical envelopes, they can do more, put more into it and get more out of it. So that's how they progress.
Yeah. Did you say nerve training?
Yeah.
Did you? What do you mean by that?
Well, people that work out at X Gym get more coordinated and better at sports. So, an X Gym person who wants to take up paddleboarding and they've never done it before, they're going to do really well on their first time. They'll be like someone else who's been doing it for a month on their first time or any new sport. But if you ask a professional bodybuilder who does uncontrolled exercise motion for 10 hours every day to pick up a new sport that he's never done before, he's going to look like a complete oaf because he hasn't been concentrating and focusing on his functional movement patterns like we do at X Gym. So
Okay.
X Gym is kind of like Tai Chi, but with resistance, light
Oh,
resistance. So
okay.
it's very controlled, focused movements, and your brain is concentrating on it. Traditional training or bodybuilding is uncontrolled movements where you can do your sets and reps and you can talk to your friend while you're doing it, or you can watch the TV while you're doing it. You're just getting your reps in, you're trying to get the numbers in your sets, which is great for people that want to get bigger. They should do that. But for people that want to get more coordinated and functional fitness and toned and defined with great endurance, then they're doing my style, which is focus training. And it's kind of like Tai Chi, it's kind of like bar, it's kind of like Pilates, but it's super different from all of those because of the time under tension and fatigue transition and lots of other reasons and multi protocols, 7 different methods. We're cycling through those all the time, 30 different splinter techniques that we do to get to failure, to true muscle fatigue. And it kind of up to the trainer, depending on what they see happening and the degree of fatigue. So it's very complicated program as opposed to all the other ones that are just one method and are therefore much simpler without splinter techniques. And so, because of this control, this intensive focus with the brain and control with the movement, it's training the nerves. And because the nerves control your movement, and the brain is the conductor of that orchestra, and they're both working really, really hard the whole time. It's almost a form of meditation because
Yeah.
you're so focused on your movement that, and that's all meditation is picking something to focus on and
Yeah.
staying on focus. And when you get off focus, to bring yourself back on focus. And that's what we do. And that's our methodology for physical. And that's why it's so good for the brain too.
I was just going to say that sounds like it would be great for the brain as well,
Yeah,
besides your body.
absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the X Gym exercise app.
Yeah.
How does it make it easier for people to get results with the app, even from home?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it's video, it's guided video exercises, and I'm
Okay.
demonstrating and I'm doing some coaching. And some of it is complete, lots of words, lots of coaching through the whole thing. And other exercises a little bit easier. Maybe there's going to be some music along with it. It's all different and they're all very, very specifically designed. So people can go into the app and then they can select just one exercise and they can filter it based on, muscle and method,
Hmm.
or they can do a whole 21-minute routine. I just added another one yesterday and whatever but it's their choice. So they can do one exercise as an exercise snack when they have a spare 3 minutes and don't want to get sweaty, or they can do a full 21-minute routine. It's very different from other exercise apps out there. And it's also web-based, so I can change it fast and add things easily instead of Apple Store. So it's through our website. And it's no frills. It's just videos that you can filter and just do it, just the videos. And instead of, counters and fancy whatever, bells and whistles that some of these other exercise apps have, which are better for some other people. So my methodology and my app is not for everybody. My app is more for people that already have a good ability for focus. They don't need bells and whistles and flashy lights and things.
Mm-hmm.
But some people do need that. So they need to pick an app that has those flashy bells and whistles and lights and things. And that's going to be better for them. So it just really depends on the person.
Now, is the app independent from the gym? Like, do you
Mhm.
need to be a member of the gym in order to utilize the app?
No. Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
Sometimes members will have the app if they travel a lot. We
Yeah.
do online training too. So we train our members while they're traveling. But sometimes they're in a different time zone and they can't book a time. So then they pull up the app and they do the video workouts from the app.
Okay. And if you're not a member of the gym, can you also utilize the app? Like, is there a fee to have the app for a
Yeah.
non-member? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's month to month. It's just a monthly fee.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
people do it as long as they're working for them. And if it doesn't, or if it's not their style, then they just cancel. It's
Right.
easy, super easy. Anybody can. You don't have to be a member.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. How has the fitness industry changed since you started? And what do you predict going forward the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. So the industry, unfortunately, hasn't changed that much.
Oh, okay.
People are still doing traditional sets and reps, regardless of their goals. And that was invented in 1891. So it's a very outdated methodology unless you're a bodybuilder and you have the time to commit to it. Then it's perfect. But for everybody else, it's not such a great idea. And it's very time consuming. And that's why it's discouraging for a lot of people, especially people, the New Year's resolutionaries that make their goals and end up failing really fast. It's just too much. It's too time consuming and it's harder than they thought, and their progress isn't as fast as they thought. But and then there's the CrossFit. So CrossFit was a disruptor, and that changed the industry. And the good part about CrossFit is it got more people off the couch. And for a certain type of personality and brain type, it's great because they have these whiteboards up on the wall and they write your name up there, and they write your last max that you did, the max weight you could lift.
Hmm.
And then that's your record. And now this time you're going to try to break it. And for certain personalities and people, it's really motivating. And it's also a tribe mentality. So when you're there, you're part of a tribe,
Yeah.
and other people are going to encourage you and they're going to scream at you and get you motivated and clap for you and celebrate you. And for a lot of brain types, that's fantastic. It's perfect for certain personalities and certain people, and it keeps them coming. And there are really good CrossFit coaches out there that prevent injuries, but it's not known for that. So it's more likely going to be that somebody is going to get injured because they're trying to beat a number, set a new PR or whatever, and their form is going to suffer, or they're going to go too fast, too ballistic, use too much weight or whatever. And so injuries are pretty common,
Mhm.
which for some people is also okay. When I was in my 20s, I was doing that style before it was called CrossFit, and I would get injured, but it was okay, because I would come back to my workout in a sling because I'm a warrior. And for the mentality that I had at the time, it was perfect for me. So that time in my life, it was nothing else would have been better. It was great. So I'm not, it's definitely has its place. You just have to know what to expect. And knowing that it's a little bit more likely that you're going to get injured with that style Same with traditional training. You would just want to find a good coach that can help you prevent that, or a trainer that can help you prevent that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and just be smart. Just be smart about it, and just don't overdo it, and don't get caught up in the, okay, I got to beat my number from last time no matter what kind of a mentality.
Yeah. Gotcha. So, for someone who's struggling with motivation, what are a few practical brain hacks that they can start using?
Yes, I have a lot to say about that. But first, I want to go back a little bit because I didn't completely answer your question. What part of your question was about the future?
Yes.
And I just remembered that was part of it. So
Yes.
if people go to xgym.com and search for my post on the future, they can see that. And it's pretty fascinating. I won't talk about it a lot because we could talk about a lot of stuff, but it's about robotic trainers and using AI and the measurement techniques, biohacking stuff, where we'll have smart toilets where it can measure the things inside your body and then give you prescriptions based on what electrolytes you need and what vitamins you're deficient in, stuff like that. So the future is crazy, but it's also really cool. And so if people want to do that, then they can see my post.
Wow, that's crazy. You're right.
Yeah. So,
That's the
but that's
way of
that's
the
a whole nother,
future. Yeah.
yeah, that would be a whole nother podcast because there's so much to it. But then,
Yeah.
so what was the question that you asked?
Someone struggling with motivation.
Yeah,
What are some
motivation.
practical brain hacks that they could start to use?
Hmm. So with motivation, the first thing to do is the why technique. Just keep asking yourself, why am I motivated? Why am I feeling motivated? What are my
Mhm.
goals? Why do I want these goals? Keep asking yourself until you come across your real reason. Then you can post it, remind yourself, and stretch that motivation out. The way that people achieve anything in life is through discipline, and discipline meaning doing something every day, doing the same thing and new things, adding to it every day. It's a daily habit. So if success is defined differently from different people. So a lot of people think of monetary or material wealth as success.
Yeah.
That's the most common definition. And if you look at all the people who have achieved that, they have discipline. Sure, there's motivation there, but the reason that they have achieved what they have is because of their daily discipline.
Hmm.
So it's establishing daily habits and daily discipline, which become part of your identity. And there's a lot of people out there who have achieved material wealth and then lost it all and then got it back. And that's because they have made that part of their identity. It's who they are. So it's easy for them to get it back because it's who they are.
Yes.
So it's the identity that's the most important thing over motivation, and discipline creates that identity. The daily habit pattern becomes your identity. It's who you are. So that's really the most important part, way more important than motivation, which is a great starter, but it's not a good finisher, and it won't carry you through very well. It's the
Mhm.
discipline and the identity change. And that's where my brain type test helps people, because it changes their brain wiring, makes the daily stuff easier, and then eventually changes their identity into becoming that person.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
So, what's one piece of advice that you would leave my listeners with who feel stuck or discouraged in their wellness journey?
Mhm.
What would it be?
Well, that's normal for humans.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, you just tell yourself, hey, this is normal. It's not a negative, it's not a bad thing, and I'm not bad. And you just tell yourself, I can do this, and I'm going to do it at my own pace. And I am going to make this a goal of health. So, I'm going to get a little bit healthier every day. And I'm going to post this to remind myself. And I'm going to be really good at forgiving myself too when
Yeah.
I backtrack a little bit. And I'm going to get right back on that train and continue to that end station of amazing health. Now, we never arrive, right? We never, even when we're at the station, we're
Yeah.
still improving,
Yeah.
and we can still change ourselves. Even if we're 110 and we got the new Guinness Book of World Record, we can still rewire our brain. We can still push ourselves. We can still improve. We can still become a better person. And that's the idea, is to constantly get a little bit better than you were yesterday. And most days you'll do that. Some days you won't, and that's okay. You get back on the train and you stay on that train as long as you can until you fall off again, which you will. And then you get back on as quick as you can. And then that's how we get to that journey, and we finally achieve our goals at our own pace.
Yeah. Right. So, how can people learn more about your work? Tell us again. Take that brain type test or try out your XGym app.
Mm-hmm. xgym.com is the biggest source of information.
Okay.
That has everything on there. And then the other site is braintype.me. And that's the brain type test. And everything is there. I mean, you're just scrolling around XGym, and down at the bottom of the homepage is my socials if you're into that. And there's the search bar down there to search blog posts and information. And people that join XGym and also or join the app get access to the XGym AI,
Oh,
which then they can go to that page, the member page, and ask that AI any question, and the AI will crawl my book and 500 blog posts to come up with specific answers to specific questions.
wow, that's wonderful. PJ, I love what you're doing. It's incredible. And you have such passion for it. It,
Mm-hmm.
it embodies you,
Oh,
really, which
thanks.
is wonderful,
Yeah,
wonderful. It was such a pleasure to have you on today. I appreciate you coming on. I'd love to have you come back again. I'm definitely going to download the app and check it out for myself.
wonderful. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. Yeah, it's great being here. Thanks for having me, Susan.
Same here. Thank you all for joining today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you could think of anyone who would benefit from listening to this episode, please share it out with them. Also, if you're not currently subscribed to my channel, please be sure to subscribe so that you know the next time that I release another great episode. Until the next time, be well, stay happy, and bye for now. Take good care, everyone.